This is something we don't usually see in February, where there's a severe weather threat as far north as Indiana. This is a possibility for Wednesday. By Thursday, the system will move into the northeast. And even though we're about 5 to 6 days out from this, the chances of a winter storm in the northeast are growing. By Friday and Saturday, this system will move out. The GFS model suggests the possibility of 1 or 2 more winter storms in the same region around February 9th and 10th. Beyond that, things become much more uncertain, although the model does show a very expansive winter storm around February 12th. However, it's hard to predict with much accuracy this far out. Here's a comparison with the European model. It shows the same general pattern through this weekend and early next week, but the big difference is that it forecasts a much larger storm that forms more quickly. This means we could see snow and ice in the Midwest, Northern Plains, and Northeast by Wednesday. There could also be a severe weather threat associated with this system on Wednesday or Thursday, particularly in the Ohio Valley and lower Mississippi Valley, which will be the area to watch. The European model also shows the storm further north, meaning that the snowfall potential in the Northeast would be much lower. At this point, we're confident that a storm system will affect this part of the country in the middle and end of next week. However, we still don't know exactly how much snow, ice, or severe weather will occur or where. We'll continue to provide updates daily or every other day, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have the notification bell turned on to receive the latest updates. Also, the atmospheric river events are far from over, especially in Northern California. We expect them to continue through Wednesday or Thursday, but even after that, the weather will remain very active in California, Oregon, and Washington. One thing is for certain, there will be a lot of rain and snow over the next couple of weeks, especially along the West Coast. A couple of areas won't see much rain, such as the Southeast, Great Plains, and Southwest between now and Friday or Saturday of this upcoming week. This is important to keep in mind as we're seeing a typical weather pattern with the jet stream lifted well to the north, allowing more precipitation to fall in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic regions. Additionally, typical atmospheric river events will occur along the West Coast of the United States. In terms of total rainfall on the West Coast, this is quite significant. We could see as much as 20 inches of precipitation in the Sierra Nevada, which could be either rain or snow. Most of this will be snow in the higher elevations. Even near San Francisco and areas to the north, we're expecting 4 to 8 inches of rainfall. Oregon and Washington will also see several inches of rain, with localized flooding and mudslides being possible. When it comes to snow, especially in the higher elevations, we could see up to 150 inches in some areas. This is an extraordinary amount of snow, particularly in the Sierra Nevada. No surprises there, but it's still an impressive amount to expect over the next 5 days. Further north, in the higher elevations, we could see anywhere from 2 to 4 feet of snow, with some areas possibly reaching 5 feet of snow in the northern tier of Washington. Now, let's talk about temperature trends for the next couple of weeks. Over the next several days, temperatures will remain above average across the southern plains and east coast. Meanwhile, Arctic air will sit in the northern and central plains and the Pacific Northwest, which will experience very cold temperatures, especially in Montana. However, that Arctic air is not expected to move into the United States. So if you're hoping for cold weather in the deep south, that's not in the forecast. Above average temperatures are expected through the middle and end of this week and into early next week. There doesn't appear to be any major changes, and the next potential cold air blast would be around the beginning of next week in the Midwest and Southern Plains. But even that doesn't look intense. It won't be a repeat of the January cold snap, just a small cold blast. As for an Arctic blast, it's likely we'll see one in the next couple of weeks. If it happens, it will probably occur in the middle to end of February. I believe the polar vortex will get more active, sending some cold air from Canada into the United States, and we could see some interesting weather around the last 2 weeks of February. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned for my next update. I'll keep you protected before and after the storm. Hello, everyone. Today, multiple large storms will be heading toward the United States over the next couple of weeks, and we expect snowfall to return to areas like the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast, with the potential for a winter storm in the middle of this week. Additionally, we are monitoring a massive storm on the west coast of the United States that could dump as much as 150 inches of snow in the higher elevations of the Sierra Nevada. In today's forecast, we'll break down exactly what you need to know about these upcoming winter storms. We'll begin by discussing the current weather across the country. A lot of moisture is currently moving across the East Coast, bringing snow to areas like southern and central New England, along with some heavy rainfall. However, this is moving offshore and things will clear out in New England by the end of the day. Another snow event is expected due to an Alberta clipper that will move across the Midwest and into the Northeast by Monday. Over on the West Coast, there's an atmospheric river categorized as a level 4, which is causing a significant weather event. A piece of energy is expected to break off from this atmospheric river and could lead to a winter weather event, possibly even a winter storm in the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. We will discuss this in more detail shortly. This storm is already dumping large amounts of rain and snow across California, and we are expecting flooding concerns along with snowfall totals of up to 150 inches in the Sierra Nevada. The weather will be very different throughout February, with several winter storms expected and possibly even an Arctic blast or two. However, the locations of these events will differ significantly from what we experienced in January. Let's break down the general weather pattern with the jet stream starting with this weekend into early next week. Right off the bat, I want to point out that our polar jet stream has shifted far to the north, which has allowed warmer weather to build across the southern plains, southeast, and southwest. As a result, some areas in Texas are already experiencing temperatures in the 80s, which is unusual for February. This warmer weather will continue as the week progresses, with the polar jet stream remaining far to the north. So what does this mean for winter storms? Let's take a look at the early to middle portion of this week. The jet stream remains lifted far to the north, but at least one, if not a couple of troughs will move along the Canadian-U.S. border. These will lead to the winter storms we'll be talking about for the next couple of weeks. We are not expecting a significant dip in the jet stream until the middle or end of February. So this weather pattern should persist for the next 1 to 2 weeks. This means that winter storm potential will mainly affect regions like the central and northern plains, Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast, while this does not rule out winter storms or severe weather in areas farther south or west. The greatest threats for the next couple of weeks will be in the Midwest and Northeast. Now, let's talk more about the winter storms expected to hit the United States over the next couple of weeks, starting with today. There's a lot of snow and rain falling across the Pacific Northwest and along the West Coast. This will bring several inches of rain and a significant amount of snow, which we'll cover in more detail shortly. Meanwhile, over in the northern plains and Midwest, an Alberta clipper will move in tonight and tomorrow, bringing light to moderate snow to Michigan and eventually moving into the Northeast. We're not expecting significant accumulation from this storm, but a few inches of snow are likely in most areas. By Monday morning, the storm will have moved out. Eventually, by Tuesday and Wednesday, things will calm down a bit, at least for most of Tuesday. However, by Wednesday, we expect a piece of this atmospheric river event to break off and move across the northern plains and Midwest, potentially developing into a large storm system in the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. I should point out that the GFS model, which I'm showing here, doesn't predict a huge storm by Wednesday night. However, the European model, which I'll show you shortly, shows a much larger and more significant storm. This means there's some discrepancy between the models on the size of the storm, so we don't yet know how much snow or ice to expect or how significant the severe weather threat could be. One unusual aspect of this situation is that we might see some severe weather depending on how this trough evolves on Wednesday. Areas like the Ohio Valley and even the Mississippi River Valley could be at risk.